One day, a glowing baby was born, becoming the first human to have a unique power known as a quirk. As time went on, quirks became more commonplace until most people had one. Quirks could range from cool powers like generating electricity, or it could turn your head into a squirt bottle. As quirks became more prolific, so too did heroes and villains. The main character of the story, Izuku, and his childhood friend / bully, Bakugo, both dream of being like the world's #1 hero, All Might. But it turns out that Izuku is one of the few people that don't have a quirk. Despite this, Izuku still dreams of being a hero, forcing him to face ridicule from his peers, especially Bakugo, who believes it's impossible for somebody without a quirk to become a hero, even giving Izuku the name Deku, which essentially means useless after some translating. One day, after walking home from school, Izuku is attacked by a villain but is saved by All Might. As he tries to leave, Izuku latches onto All Might's leg and is carried to a nearby building. All Might loses his muscular form and turns into a thin man. He explains that due to a severe injury that he received in battle from a villain, he can only stay in his muscular form for a short amount of time. He keeps this a secret from the public because if villains knew that he, the symbol of peace, was weakened, they would run rampant. Izuku asks if he thinks that he could become a hero without a quirk, and All Might tells him to face reality and to look for a different way to help people. While distracted by Izuku, the same villain from before escapes from All Might and captures Bakugo. He uses Bakugo's explosion quirk to cause havoc. The villain keeps the other heroes at bay, and despite being on the scene, All Might is in his weakened form and can't turn into his strong form. Izuku sees that the villain has captured Bakugo and runs in to try and save him, inspiring All Might to push beyond his limits and re-enter his muscular form to defeat the villain. Later that day, All Might thanks Izuku for inspiring him to act and says that he can become a hero. All Might has the power to transfer his quirk, one for all, to other people. He and Izuku begin training intensely for 10 months until the day of the entrance exam for U.A Academy, a school for training future heroes. Izuku eats All Might's hair to gain his quirk, but has no time to train with the ability before the exam. At the exam, he meets Uraraka and Iida. To score points on the exam, the potential students must defeat robotic villains, each with their own point total. The exam begins and Izuku struggles to defeat the robots while the other examinees rack up points. Eventually, a massive robot appears and starts destroying the area. Despite being huge, the robot is worth 0 points, so most of the students run away. Izuku starts to run, but he sees Uraraka trapped under some debris and about to be trampled by the large robot, so Izuku uses his new quirk for the first time and leaps into the air to punch the robot. Having never used a quirk before, Izuku breaks both his legs and his arm and falls to the ground. Right before he hits the ground, Uraraka uses her quirk to stop him from hitting the ground. The exam ends with Izuku only having defeated the 0-point robot. Despite not earning any points for defeating the robots during the exam, All Might tells Izuku that he earned rescue points and that he'll be accepted for the upcoming year at UA and that All Might will be a teacher there as well. Izuku meets his many new classmates, among them are Uraraka, Iida, and Bakugo. Their homeroom teacher is Aizawa, the pro hero Eraserhead. He has the students perform various physical feats with their quirks to test their strengths and even threatens them, saying that the worst scorer among them will be expelled. Izuku attempts to throw a ball with his quirk, but Aizawa uses his quirk to disable Izuku's, preventing him from injuring himself. Aizawa tells Izuku that it'll be a burden on the battlefield if his quirk always damages him, prompting Izuku to attempt to use his quirk with only his finger instead of his whole arm. Bakugo gets mad since he thinks that Izuku is hiding a quirk from him all along. Despite using his quirk, Izuku still finishes last among the students, but Aizawa reveals that he lied about expelling them. Having heard Bakugo call Izuku the nickname Deku, Uraraka assumes that's his actual name. Izuku tells him it's a mean nickname, but she puts a positive spin on it, saying it sounds like you can do it, changing how Izuku thinks about it. Izuku, Uraraka, and Iida become friends. The students start their lessons and gear up in their hero costumes for some mock battles. 2 of the students will be villains protecting a bomb, and 2 of them will be heroes disarming it. Izuku is paired up with Uraraka to face Iida and Bakugo. Bakugo and Izuku fight, Bakugo demanding to see his quirk, angry that Izuku had supposedly been hiding one from him all along. Bakugo seems to overpower Izuku, but Izuku uses his quirk once to break through the ceiling above them, distracting Iida long enough for Uraraka to defuse the bomb, giving the victory to Izuku and Uraraka. Later, Izuku tells Bakugo that he received his quirk from somebody else, and Bakugo doesn't seem to believe him. News spreads that All Might has officially joined the UA faculty, and news reporters attempt to get the story, but they are unable to make it past UA's barrier. Class 1A elects Izuku as their class president and Yaoyorozu as the vice president. In the lunchroom, Izuku has doubts about himself being the class president. An alarm goes off, causing the students to panic. Iida is able to calm the crowd of students, and after seeing this, Izuku makes Iida the class president instead of him. For the students' next lessons, they are joined by the hero 13, who specializes in search and rescue. Aizawa takes him to the unforeseen simulation joint facility. Soon after they arrive, a portal opens up and dozens of villains appear through it. Aizawa confirms that the situation is a real threat and has 13 protect the students while he fights the villains. The villain responsible for the portals, Kurogiri, appears and reveals that they are the League of Villains and their goal is to kill All Might. Bakugo and another student, Kirishima, try to attack him, but he teleports teleports most of the students away to various spots around the facility. Izuku is teleported into the water with Tsuyu and Mineta. Using Tsuyu's frog quirk and Mineta's quirk to make sticky balls, Izuku makes a plan and escapes the group of villains surrounding them. Meanwhile, 3 other students, Kaminari, Yayorozu, and Jiro, fight off several other villains. Another student, Todoroki, freezes all of the villains near him, and Bakugo and Kirishima defeat the villains in their area. Izuku fights the group's leader Shigaraki. He's doing well enough, but is eventually taken out by a large creature known as a Nomu. Izuku's group arrives and sees their teacher lying severely injured by the Nomu. 13 notes that they can't make contact with the outside school at all. They opt to send Iida, whose quirk lets him run really fast outside to get help. Kurogiri tries to stop Iida, defeating 13 in the process, but the other remaining students are able to get in the way long enough for Iida to escape. Shigaraki takes note of Izuku's group and is about to use his quirk to disintegrate Tsuyu, but Aizawa uses the last of his strength to nullify Shigaraki's quirk before the Nomu pins him down and takes him out. Izuku's group is about to fight, but All Might arrives on the scene, having heard about the situation from Iida. He incapacitates several villains and rescues Aizawa and Izuku's group. He battles the Nomu alone, but then Kurogiri intervenes and allows the Nomu to gain the upper hand. Seeing this, Izuku runs back to help, but before he arrives, Bakugo incapacitates Kurogiri and Todoroki freezes the Nomu. The Nomu breaks free and retrieves Kurogiri from Bakugo. All Might uses all the power he can muster to send the Nomu flying away out of the facility. All Might then finds himself unable to move after receiving too much damage from the Nomu. Shigaraki and Kurogiri proceed to attack All Might, but Izuku jumps into the fray to protect him. Meanwhile, Iida arrives with the rest of the UA faculty, and Shigaraki and Kurogiri escape through a portal while the UA teachers take out the rest of the villains. As All Might's transformation wears off, one of the teachers puts up a wall to protect his secret from the other students. Everybody is evacuated safely, and although Izuku, 13, and Aizawa are injured, they all survive. And that's Season 1. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. Hit the like button and drop a comment to help this video find its way into YouTube's algorithm.